What it do? It's your boy, Illuminated D. And you know what I'm saying? We back with another one. The first thing I want to do is thank you to everybody who's liked and commented. And to all the subscribers, Pops and I want to let you know how much we really appreciate you. For you to come and spend your time with us and to consume the content while we understanding that you have busy lives, we want to thank you and bless. And family, this is a public announcement to every single YN out there. This is a public announcement to every single YN out there. You know, me and my boy were just talking about this the other day, and I kind of want to break it down a little bit because I think that this is super important and every single YN needs to hear this. Every young individual needs to hear this. This is so important. I understand that being inside of an environment, being inside of a community that is what we would call the trenches, right? I want to use the right phonetics when I'm talking to you. When you're in the trenches, and a lot of people don't understand that you're on a battleground. See, we may not be overseas fighting a war right now, or you may not be in the actual battlefront, but I understand what you're going through. I understand what you're going through. I got so many friends and so many family members that just seem to get stuck. They got stuck in a cycle. They got stuck in an environment where the only thing people were trying to tell them was, we got to get it off the muscle. We got to get it out the mud. We got to go kick this door. We got to sell that pack. We got to sell that za. We got to sell that za. We got to go and rob the plug. We got to go run off on the plug for sure. We got to run off on the plug, right? But you know the sick part is, the sick part about it is that nobody ever tells the YNs or the young individual the repercussions of what could happen after they do what they do, the consequences behind it. Nobody is a big enough figure in front of you to actually tell you what's in front of that or what comes after that. I could tell you what comes after it. Prison, jail time, a life stuck in the cycle of repetitiveness, poverty, lack of. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some lucky individuals who actually do that type of lifestyle, right? And they make it out. There are some, but there's not many. There's not many. And the sick part about it is we can't blame the YNs. We can't blame the young individuals, because if there's no role model, there's no father figure, right? There's nobody that you can look up to tell you, nah, look, you don't gotta get it off the muscle. You don't gotta go sell that pack and then try and run it up from an eighth to a quarter, a half, turn it into a O, flip that O. You know what I'm saying? That's too slow. It's too slow. You'll never make it out. You'll never make it out. Because now you're trying to run up a pound, you're trying to run up 10 pounds. They get you for the 10 pounds. They talking about the death penalty. They talking about taking your life because you trying to feed your family, because you see all these rappers online that are telling you that this is how they do it, but that is cap. It's cap. Why you don't go drive the block and then look for an absentee owner and then do a wholesale? There's so many people out here that will give you unlimited capital to rehab a home. But the sick part about it is the people that are in front of the YNs or the young individuals, they're only telling them that the fast way. That is fast. That's faster. You're going to get 20K up front. That's the faster way. But the thing about it is see, your friends taught you how to do it. You see what I'm saying? They taught you how to do it the fast way, but it was all based off of research by looking. See, you got to remember that if you search, then you find. So depending on what you search for, you find it. That's how our world exists. That's how life exists today. Life exists like that. So it's all about what you manifest. Manifestation is real. Manifest destiny. That was what it was all about. Is you manifesting your destiny. You can manifest the good or you can manifest the bad. And you have to remember that there's consequences between every action. There's consequences between every action. And the sick part is you can't blame the YNs or the young individuals, because guess what? Like I said, no role model. And who is the role model? You have to ask yourself, who is the role model? And you got to understand that your friends are your biggest influence. Your friends are your biggest influence. So remember, you're going to be most like the individuals that you hang out with. So sometimes you have to pull yourself away from your friends in order to change your mindset, to change the trajectory of your life and where you're going. I've been there. I've almost been knocked off and put into a system that I shouldn't have been in. You know why? Because it was all based off around my friends and what my friends wanted to do. My friends had a huge influence on my life. Not even how I grew up. I've met super smart young individuals that got led on the wrong path just based off of the people that they hung around, because birds of a feather flock together. You'll be most like the individuals that you kick it with. So if you chill with 10 millionaires, then 9 times out of 10, you'll be the 11th millionaire. If you chill with 10 bums, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the 11th bum. If you chill with 10 go-getters, 9 times out of 10, you'll be the 11th go-getter. If you chill with 10 pookies, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the 11th pookie or pookiette, pookiana. I'm trying to put you on game and let you know that you have to actually look and evaluate the people that you kick it with, because they're always going to try and take you to where they are. But you got to remember that you got to stand on your own 2 feet, and you got to remember that you are who you are, and you can't let their decisions sway your decisions. Sometimes you got to give it up. Sometimes you got to give it up. And there's always going to be people that going to tell you how to get it the fast way. I promise you, they out there. And there's always going to be people that try to tell you how to get it the slow way. And sometimes the slow way is the harder way. But remember, the harder way is the safe way. And the harder way doesn't have to be slow. It can be fast, but you have to master systems. Systems are the things that take people from being regular, average citizens to being very wealthy and successful. It's all based off of systems. How to gain a customer, how to keep a customer. And this is not talking about selling za on the block. You can be selling clothes. You can be selling shoes. I got a lot of friends that used to sell shoes when they were in high school. They used to sell clothes. They make their own gear. It's not easy to become the plug and to find a customer. I promise you, not in today. Bud is legal. Bud is legal. Maybe back in the day, but not now. Because they can just walk into the dispensary. And who wants to try and nickel and dime? It's too slow. It's too slow. It's not even worth it at this point. So I want to tell all my YNs and my young individuals, before you go down the wrong path, before you go down a path that you can't turn back from, a system where they want you to fail so that they can keep funding these private owned prisons and these private owned facilities so that they can keep getting free bread from the government. I need you all to go and start looking for better role models, better individuals to kick it with, better friends, better people that are going to lead you down the path of actual success, not towards false success. Because you know what they say, if you give the devil a yard, he'll take a mile. If you give the devil a yard, he'll take a mile. That means that if you give the opportunity and you put yourself in that position, it can either cost you your life, cost you your time. You got to understand that our time Our time is the most important thing that we have. And when they take your time, that's when they take your life. Because how you utilize your time is the most important thing. So look, if they can lock you up and put you in a cage, right? For some dumb, right? I'm gonna just be honest, for some dumb, then basically they're taking your time and having you stay in the penitentiary to do what? Sit there, and are you really reflecting? Is that really a good use of your time? Maybe you go to school, but now it's on your record. Now you might have a harder time getting a job. You don't even got to get a job. You can go and be an entrepreneur. See, they always tell us, what kind of job do you want to get? Well, let me be the first person to tell you that you don't got to get a job. You don't have to. You can be an entrepreneur. You can set a new bound, but it's all based off of how you manifest it. How you set your creativity and you change the reality. And then when you change your reality, you can help your friends change their reality. But until you step up, everybody else gonna just keep doing the same thing around you. It's gotta start with one. And if you're the one and you following the same foot tracks as everybody else, the reality is just gonna be the same and everybody's gonna be stuck, and you could have saved them. You could have saved everybody. But because people want to be followers, they tend to go down the same route. So that's why I'm here, to tell every YN and young individual, you can choose. You can choose. And you can be great. And don't let anybody limit your greatness. Because we all want to be successful and we all want to be somewhere in life. But in order to do that, you got to do something that you ain't never done before. And that's the reason that we're doing this right here, right now. And I want to remember, I want to tell you, remember what I said. You can't always choose your environment, but you can choose the people that you chill with. And remember, if you're already in too deep, that means that if you've already got inserted into the lifestyle, but you see this video and you want to change, but you're too young to where you can't leave the crib, have an open conversation with your family and let them know your reality. Let them know so that they can potentially get you into a better environment. Sometimes you got to move. Sometimes you got to move from the reality that you're in. And maybe you don't got the bread. Maybe they don't got the bread. Well, that means that you got to change your friends. And you got to keep your head on the swivel, because if you already in too deep, then you might already be at war. But if you are at war, remember, the smart and the strong survive. Everybody be blessed, be safe, we out.